Hello, what's up? How's life? It's the start of the day. Anyway, hypocrisy. I'm not saying that right. Hypocrisy is basically being a hypocrite. There you go. I don't need to add anything. Fine, I'll add more. It's like when your little sister steals food off your plate, but then when you try to steal the food back, she yells and screams at you for stealing food off her plate. She's being a hypocrite. Fine. Here's the dictionary thingy. Hypocrisy is setting down rules that even you do not abide to, but everyone else around you has to, or you get mad. There you go. Is that good enough? Okay. I believe there is a speech about how we celebrate freedom and how men are the same and they're equal, but then there's slavery widespread in the country. Just think about that for a minute. There is a book called Sweet Song of Liberty, and there's a scene in the book about a couple of black guys singing of a song about freedom and men being equal, but then there's people inside the church that they're singing in telling them they shouldn't be there or they can't sit there. Truth be told, I don't know much about this book, but I just heard about the scene in the book and it's just okay. And they're free black men, and it still shows what profanity goes on around this. What? What? No, we're trying to have a serious moment here. What are you doing? Some people think when there is like a war going on, then they will arm their slaves and send them out as soldiers to fight for them, but they never actually armed these slaves with any sort of weapon or gun, because and since all of the slaveholders were terrified of their own slaves, they would go to long lengths to make sure that their slaves are completely in the dark about everything. So they will take infants away from their mothers to break the bond of mother and child, but they're terrified of them because they want to protect their own families, even though they're tearing apart the slaves' families every single day. The quote from Frederick Douglas talks about how he never got to see his mother and how he found out that she died. Okay, let's just talk about Mr. Gore for a minute. The best way I can find to describe him is that he's really gory, but you probably prefer the way that Frederick Douglass explains him. He's just very grave and he hates jokes. Like, he just doesn't mention a joke ever. And Mr. Gore eventually notices this slave. I can't quite remember how it goes down, but the slave, I think his name is Randy, he ends up in a river, and Mr. Gore comes up to him and says, "I'm going to give you to the count of 3, and if you don't get out of that river, then you're gonna get shot in the head." And the thing is, when you do kill a slave, you have to console someone. I can't quite remember who you have to console, but the fact that he even said that is oof. But Randy just stays in the river, whether he was too tired or I don't know. But he stays in the river, and is probably like not even registering that Mr. Gore's in front of him and counting to 3, and he's like 1, 2, 3, and he shoots poor Randy in the head, and blood's gushing in the river, and brains are everywhere. A very very gory sight. Good things everything is black and white in this video. And also it helps that it's a simplistic style. He shot him for staying in the river. And he did commit a crime for shooting a slave without consulting anyone. But he got no penalty. He just got to walk away unscathed. Okay, let's just start off with the quote. This one's pretty explanatory. So, Frederick Douglas and a few others work in the kitchens, where they're probably surrounded by food and supplies, and they only get like half a bushel of cornmeal. So Frederick Douglas gets to this plantation and he's handed a couple of oxen, but he doesn't know how to use them and he's super awkward with them. So when he gets handed with them and gets told to go in the forest to get supplies, he almost dies like twice. And when he comes back to tell his master what had happened, he gets taken into the forest, being told that he's going to be taught. And when they reach their destination, he gets told to strip off his clothing, and he just stays there, probably not wanting to take off his clothing because he knows what's gonna come next. And the master repeats himself, "Take off your clothing," and he doesn't do so. So he runs at Frederick Douglas and rips at his clothing and whipping him until he had the marks on him for a long time. Okay, time to unceremoniously end this video. Yeah, no.